Am Abend, an dem alles angefangen hat, sah nichts ungewöhnlich aus. Der weiche Schimmel der Television schmaltete das Wohnzimmer in einem warmen, flitternden Licht und der Hummel des Kühlschranks füllte die Stille zwischen uns. Mein Name ist Emily Carter und das ist die Geschichte von How Quiet. Der Abend wurde in einen Sturm, der alles veränderte. Ich hatte es nicht vorgeplant. Ich habe es nicht einmal realisiert, dass es passieren würde, bis es viel zu spät war. Mein Mann, Ryan, arbeitete lange Stunden für Monate. Wir waren immer noch zusammen, aber emotionale. Es fühlte sich an, als wäre ein unbeleuchtetes Wald zwischen uns. Jede Beratung war kurz, jeder Abendessen war ruhig. Ich habe mir gesagt, dass es nur eine Phase war, in der alle Verheiratungen durch diese Phase durchgingen. Trotzdem schmerzte die Entfernung. Am Abend kam Ryans bester Freund Ethan vorbei. Er sollte zurückkehren, Ryans Tools from a home project they'd been doing together. Ryan war nicht zu Hause, steckte in einer anderen späten Sitzung. I invited Ethan in, offered him a drink, and we ended up flipping through channels on the TV. We'd all been friends for years, so it didn't feel strange, at least not at first. Ethan had always been the charming one, the kind of guy who made people laugh easily. He had this way of really listening when you talked, of holding your gaze just a little too long. That night, he sat beside me on the couch, close enough that I could feel the warmth of his arm against mine. We talked about old memories, vacations, and the little things Ryan used to do that made me laugh. For the first time in months, I found myself smiling freely. The TV played quietly in the background, some forgettable movie neither of us was watching. There was an energy in the air, soft, unspoken, and dangerous. I remember one moment so clearly. I laughed at something he said, reached to grab the remote, and our hands brushed. Just a small touch, but something shifted. My heart raced. His hand stayed there a moment too long. He looked at me, then really looked. His eyes weren't playful anymore. They were serious, searching. I could hear the tick of the clock on the wall, could feel my pulse in my throat. I should have moved away, said something, anything to break the spell. But I didn't. Instead, I froze, caught in a moment that felt like both a dream and a mistake waiting to happen. His hand slipped, brushing against mine again, and then hesitation gave way to something else. A spark, a pull I hadn't felt in years. The world outside didn't exist for those few seconds. There was only the two of us, sitting too close, hearts pounding, both of us knowing what this meant but pretending we didn't. He whispered, "Emily, we shouldn't." But his voice trailed off, and I couldn't find the words to stop what was already happening inside me. Then my phone buzzed on the coffee table, Ryan's name flashing on the screen. The moment shattered like glass. Ethan pulled away, running a hand through his hair, avoiding my eyes. I fumbled to answer the call, my voice shaky. Ryan said he'd be home in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That was all it took for reality to crash down around us. Ethan stood up quickly, mumbling that he should go. I walked him to the door, the air between us thick with everything unspoken. He looked at me once more before stepping out into the night. "Take care of yourself, Em," he said softly. I closed the door and leaned against it, my chest tight, my thoughts spinning. When Ryan came home, he kissed my forehead absently and sat down where Ethan had just been. The contrast hit me like a wave, the man I promised forever to, sitting unaware of the emotional earthquake that had just passed through the room. Days went by, but I couldn't stop replaying that night. The sound of Ethan's voice, the warmth of his hand, the way my heart had leapt like it remembered something it had forgotten. It wasn't love, not really. It was loneliness. It was the need to be seen, to be wanted again. Ethan and I didn't talk for a while after that, but when we finally did, weeks later, at a mutual friend's barbecue, our eyes met across the yard, and that same current buzzed quietly between us. We were polite, distant, careful, but both of us knew. One evening, after everyone left, Ryan confronted me. He said he noticed something, small things, little changes. I wasn't sure how he knew, but he did. He asked me if there was something going on between Ethan and me. My throat went dry. I wanted to lie, to protect him, to protect myself. But the truth sat heavy on my tongue. I didn't confess to everything, but I told him enough. That I'd felt something, that I'd let it happen in my heart before it ever became physical. The look on his face broke me. It wasn't anger, it was pain. Quiet, deep pain. For weeks after that, we barely spoke. Ethan moved away not long after. Ryan and I went to counseling, trying to rebuild what was lost. It wasn't easy, and honestly, I don't know if it'll ever be the same. But I learned something I'll never forget. Infidelity doesn't always start with betrayal. It starts with neglect, with silence, with the moments we stopped choosing each other. When I think back to that night, I still see the flicker of the TV, still feel the warmth of Ethan's arm beside me. But I also remember the coldness that followed, the emptiness of realizing I'd almost thrown away something irreplaceable for a moment that wasn't meant to last. If you're watching this and you've ever felt that temptation, that pull towards someone who isn't your step back, ask yourself what's missing in your relationship and fight for it before you find comfort in the wrong place. Because the truth is, that fleeting spark, it burns fast and it burns everything in its path. Ryan and I are still working through it, one day at a time. Love isn't perfect, it's fragile, messy, and sometimes painful. But it's also worth fighting for. And now, whenever we sit on that same couch watching TV together, I make sure to hold his hand first. Because I never want to lose him again.